The air was heavy in the bunker. The walls were made of cold steel, and they carried the silence of a grave. A single light flickered above, buzzing like an insect trapped in glass. The human, a man named Daniel, opened his eyes slowly. His head pounded, his throat burned, and his lips were dry. He tried to sit up, but his body was weak. He looked around and realized he was trapped underground. Daniel could not remember how he got here. He remembered fire, the sound of bombs, and then nothing. Now he was alone in this metal tomb. His stomach growled with hunger. His throat ached with thirst. He crawled toward a broken pipe in the corner. A single drop of water slid down the rust. He opened his mouth, desperate. But the drop fell before he could catch it. His body trembled. With weakness, he pressed his head against the wall, thinking he would die here. Then he heard it. A sound that was not his own breathing. Not the buzzing light, not the groaning metal. It was soft, like a whisper. Daniel froze. His eyes searched the shadows. In the far corner of the bunker, something moved at first. He thought it was his mind playing tricks. His vision blurred from hunger, but no, the shape was real. A figure stood there, silent and tall, watching him. Daniel's heart raced. Fear gripped his chest. He pushed himself back, his weak arms scraping against the floor. The figure stepped forward, and the light revealed her face. She was not human. Her skin glowed faintly in the dark, pale with a strange silver shimmer. Her eyes were larger than his, glowing faint blue. Like cold fire, her hair fell in waves across her shoulders, strands shining like glass. She was young, or at least she looked young, and yet everything about her felt ancient. Daniel's voice cracked as he whispered, "Who? Who are you?" His throat burned, and the words were broken. The alien girl tilted her head. Her eyes studied him with calm patience. She said nothing. She only walked closer. Her footsteps made no sound. She knelt in front of him. Her gaze was neither hostile nor kind, just unreadable. Daniel tried to crawl away, but he had no strength left. His arms shook, his body weak. He pressed against the wall. Trapped. The girl leaned forward, her glowing eyes scanning his face. She lifted her hand slowly, and Daniel flinched, expecting pain, but instead, she touched his cheek gently. Her hand was warm, warmer than human skin. Daniel blinked, his fear mixed with confusion. Why would an alien be here? Why was she not hurting him? She pulled her hand back and then pressed it against her own chest. She made a soft sound, a tone like music, low and haunting. It was not a word he understood, but it carried meaning. She was telling him something. The human tried to speak again, but his voice broke. He shook his head, his lips too dry, his eyes closed, and he felt darkness pulling him down. His body had no energy left. He thought he would not wake again. But then warmth touched his lips. His eyes opened in shock. The alien girl was closer now. Her hand holding him steady, she offered something he could not understand. A strange liquid touched his mouth, warm and sweet. His body trembled. His instincts screamed, but his thirst was stronger. He swallowed. His throat finally eased. His chest rose with deeper breaths. The warmth spread through him, giving him a spark of life. He looked at her, his eyes wide with disbelief. She looked back at him, her face calm, as if this was natural. Daniel turned his head away, shame and fear running through him. What had she given him? What had he just accepted? But the truth was cruel. Without her, he would have died, and now his life was tied to her. The bunker was still silent. The walls still pressed close. Yet something had changed. Daniel was no longer alone, and in that moment, the story far stranger than survival had begun. Daniel sat against the cold wall of the bunker. His chest rose and fell slowly. The strange warmth from the alien girl's gift still lingered inside him. He felt alive, but also confused. His mind screamed questions he could not answer. Who was she? Why was she here? And why would she give him life instead of death? The girl sat a few steps away, her glowing eyes never leaving him. She was calm, almost too calm, as if time moved differently for her. Daniel tried to speak again. His throat no longer dry, but his voice still weak. Why? Why help me? He asked. She tilted her head. Her long silver hair slid across her shoulders like water. She did not answer in words. Instead, she placed her hand on her chest, then pointed to him. Her expression did not change, yet her meaning was clear. She wanted him to live. Daniel shook his head, his hands curled into fists. I don't understand, he whispered. His human pride fought inside him. He had always been taught that aliens were dangerous, yet here one sat in front of him, saving his life with something he could not even name. The girl rose to her feet. Her tall figure made the small bunker feel even smaller. She walked toward him slowly. Daniel's body tensed, ready to fight. But he had no strength. She knelt down once more, close enough that he could see the faint lines glowing under her skin. Veins of blue light flowing like rivers. She lifted her hand and pressed it gently against his chest, right over his heart. Daniel felt the warmth again. Her eyes softened for the first time. A low sound left her lips. Not human speech, but something musical. The sound carried meaning, comfort, survival, and trust. Daniel shook his head. You don't understand. I can't. His voice cracked. The shame burned in him. To live only because of her milk felt unnatural. It felt wrong. He turned away, pressing his back harder against the wall. The girl did not retreat. Her hand touched his shoulder, firm, but not forceful. Then she lowered herself and offered again, her expression calm. Her glowing eyes filled with something that looked like patience. Daniel closed his eyes, his stomach twisted with hunger. His body weak again. He wanted to deny her, to refuse, but the truth clawed inside him without her. He would die. He could not escape this reality. His pride could not feed him. His shame could not quench his thirst. When he opened his eyes, she was still there, waiting. Her gift offered without words. His chest tightened. He felt like a child. Helpless, desperate, but slowly, painfully, he accepted. Warmth filled his mouth again. His throat eased. His body trembled as life returned. Each breath came stronger. His strength did not fully return, but it was enough. He leaned back against the wall, his face pale with both relief and shame. The girl pulled back gently, her expression unchanged. She sat cross-legged across from him, her glowing eyes watching. She had no anger, no pride, only silence. Daniel's hand covered his face. Why are you doing this? He muttered. His voice was rough. Why help me when I can give you nothing? The girl tilted her head. Her silver hair glimmered in the dim light. For a moment, she closed her eyes, then pressed her hand over her own chest. She spoke a single word, soft but clear. Life, Daniel. Froze. It was the first human word she had spoken. His eyes widened, his heart pounded. She knew his language, or at least this one word. Life. That was her answer. He lowered his hand and looked at her. His mind raced. If she wanted him alive, there had to be a reason. Was he just a survivor to her, or something more? A faint sound rumbled through the bunker walls. Daniel's head snapped up. The girl's glowing eyes also shifted toward the sound. It was not his imagination this time. The ground shook, faintly. Metal creaked. Something outside moved. Fear slid. Through him, the war above might not be over. Something or someone was out there. He looked at the girl. She stared back, her calm face unchanged, but her body was tense. She knew the danger too. Daniel pushed himself up against the wall, his weak legs trembling. "We can't stay here forever," he whispered, his voice still broken. "If they find us." The girl did not reply. She only placed her hand against the bunker wall, her blue veins glowing brighter for a moment. As if she could sense beyond the steel, her eyes narrowed and she turned back to him. Her silence spoke louder than words. Daniel realized the truth. He was not the only one trapped. She was also hiding. She had saved him, but now they both shared the same prison. He sat back down, his chest tight with fear and confusion. The girl watched him for a long moment. Then she repeated the words she had spoken before, her voice soft but steady. Life. Daniel closed his eyes. The word echoed in his mind. Her strange offer was not just survival, it was a bond. A bond that would decide if either of them lived or died in this dark bunker. And though shame still burned in his chest, he knew one truth: he would not survive without her. And maybe, just maybe, she would not survive without him either. The bunker had no windows, only steel walls pressing close. Hours felt like days. Days felt like years. Daniel sat against the wall, his head leaning back. His chest rose and fell in slow rhythm. The alien girl sat across from him, silent as always, her glowing eyes never fully leaving him. At first, he thought her silence meant coldness, but he began to see something else. She was watching him not with cruelty, but with patience. Like a guardian who never slept, Daniel had grown stronger since her strange gift. His hands no longer shook when he moved. His voice carried more strength when he spoke. Still, shame twisted inside him. The memory of accepting her milk made him uneasy, yet his body knew the truth. Without it, he would be dead. He pressed his hand to his stomach, hunger still gnawing. His eyes shifted toward her. She noticed, she always noticed. Her glowing veins pulsed brighter for a moment. As if reacting to his weakness, she leaned closer, her hand lifting gently. She did not speak. She did not need to. The offer was always there. Daniel turned away, biting down on his pride. But after long moments of silence, his body betrayed him. His hand reached out. Trembling, he hated himself for it. But he accepted her gift again. Warmth filled him, life returning to his limbs. His eyes closed. And for a moment, he felt peace. When it was over, she sat back quietly, her expression calm. She asked for nothing. She wanted nothing. It made no sense to him. Why would she give and never take? He studied her in the flickering light. Her skin glowed faintly, her silver hair catching every reflection. Her large eyes held a strange softness, and he wondered, did she feel trapped too? Did she feel fear? Daniel cleared his throat. Do you understand me?" he asked. His voice echoed in the bunker. For a moment, she was silent. Then she tilted her head and whispered, "Some." His chest tightened. Her voice was soft, like a song, her accent heavy. But the word was clear. He leaned forward. "Then tell me why. Why help me?" The alien girl touched her chest, then pointed at him. "Life," she whispered again. Daniel sighed, dragging his hands through his messy hair. "Life," he repeated, his voice bitter. "But what about yours?" Her eyes narrowed slightly. Her silence answered for her. She was risking herself for him, and he could not understand why. The bunker creaked again. The sound of distant echoes shook the floor. Daniel froze. His instincts screamed danger. The alien girl stood at once, her tall frame moving like a shadow. She pressed her hand against the steel wall. Her blue veins pulsed brighter, her glowing eyes sharp as if she could see beyond the wall. Daniel rose unsteadily to his feet, his legs still weak. "What is it?" he whispered. She did not answer, but her body was tense. Her glowing lines dimmed again as she stepped back. She turned toward him. Her eyes held a message even without words. They were not safe. Daniel's heart pounded. "Then we can't stay here forever," he said, his voice stronger this time. "We need to get out." She shook her head slowly, her long hair sliding across her shoulders. "No," she whispered. The words sounded strange in her voice, but the meaning was clear. Outside was worse. Daniel clenched his fists. "So we just stay here and wait to die." The alien girl stepped closer. Her glowing eyes met his. She placed her hand on his chest, right over his heart. The warmth spread through him again. His anger calmed. She whispered softly, "Together." The words struck him. His body froze. He looked at her with wide eyes. For the first time, she had spoken more than one word in his language, and the meaning was powerful. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. He stared at her, his mind spinning. She had chosen to tie her life to his, not just as a savior, but as a partner. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The silence of the bunker wrapped around them, but it was no longer the silence of strangers. It was the silence of two lives bound by survival. Daniel sat down slowly, his eyes never leaving hers. She sat beside him, close enough that he could feel her warmth. He did not resist this time. He let it be. His thoughts raced in the quiet. He had always believed aliens were monsters' enemies. Yet here was one who gave him life again and again without asking for anything. She was not his enemy. She was not his captor. She was his lifeline. The flickering light above buzzed louder for a moment, casting their shadows across the steel walls. Two figures trapped together. Two lives bound. Daniel leaned back, his voice softer now. "Together," he whispered, repeating her word. The alien girl closed her glowing eyes for the first time since he met her. Daniel saw her lips curve slightly, a faint smile, and in that moment, in the darkness of the bunker, he no longer felt alone. A bond had formed, a bond of survival, stronger than pride, stronger than fear. But outside, the echoes grew louder. Something moved beyond the steel walls. Waiting, hunting, the bunker was no longer safe, and soon their fragile bond would be tested. The bunker was silent again. But Daniel knew silence could be dangerous. He leaned his head back against the steel wall, his heart still beating fast. From the strange sound outside, the alien girl sat beside him. Her glowing eyes fixed on the floor, she looked calm. But Daniel could sense the tension in her stillness. Hours passed in that heavy silence. Daniel wanted answers, but her words were too few. Every time she whispered one of his words, he felt closer to understanding her, but the truth still hid in shadows. He could not keep living on pieces of a mystery. He turned his head toward her. His voice was steady now. "You know more than you show," he said. "You understand me more than you let me believe. Don't you?" Her glowing eyes shifted to him. The faint shimmer of her silver hair caught the flickering light. For a long moment, she did not speak. Then she nodded once, slow and deliberate. Daniel leaned forward. "Then tell me the truth. Who are you? Why are you here? And why do you give me life like this?" The alien girl closed her eyes. Her hand rose to her chest again, fingers pressing over the faint blue glow of her veins. She whispered a sound, low and musical. It was not his language, but the sound carried weight. Her voice trembled slightly. For the first time, Daniel watched her closely. His eyes narrowed. He could see it behind her calm face. There was sorrow. She was hiding something. Then she opened her eyes and whispered. "Hunted." Daniel froze. The word echoed in his mind. He looked at her, shocked. "Hunted." He repeated. She nodded. Her glowing eyes darkened with pain. She touched the steel floor with her palm. Her veins lit up brighter, blue light crawling across her skin in the reflection of that glow. Daniel saw the truth. She was not just a wanderer. She was running. Daniel's throat tightened. "So that's why you're here. You're hiding." Her lips parted slightly. She whispered again. Broken but clear. Yes. The silence between them grew heavier. Daniel leaned back. His chest rose with a deep breath. Then, "Your gift, the milk," he said quietly. "It isn't just food, is it? There's more to it." Her glowing eyes met his. She hesitated, then nodded slowly. She lifted her hand and pressed it against his chest once more. The warmth flowed into him again, but this time he felt something sharper, something stronger. His heartbeat quickened. His body tingled as if unseen power flowed through him. Daniel's eyes widened. "What is this?" he whispered. His voice shook. The alien girl pulled her hand back. Her eyes locked on his. For the first time, he saw fear in them. She whispered softly, "Change." The word made his stomach turn. Change. He pressed his hands against his arms. His chest, his body felt the same, yet not the same. Strength pulsed faintly inside him, a strength that was not human. He backed away, pressing himself against the wall. "What are you doing to me?" he demanded. His voice shook with fear and anger. The girl lowered her head. Her silver hair fell over her face. She whispered again, "Save." Daniel's breath caught. His anger softened. Her voice was not cruel. It carried sorrow. She was not trying to harm him. She was trying to protect him. He stared at her, his chest heavy. His mind fought between fear and trust. If her milk was changing him, then he was no longer the same man who had woken in this bunker. But if she had not given it to him, he would already be dead. The flickering light above went dark for a moment. The bunker sank into black silence. Daniel's breath quickened. In that pitch black, he heard her whisper again, soft and trembling. Last one." The light buzzed back on. Daniel's eyes searched her face. His heart pounded. "Last one," he repeated. She nodded. Her glowing eyes shimmered with tears that did not fall. She pressed her hand against her chest again. "My kind. Gone," she whispered. The truth struck him like a blade. She was the last of her people, alone, hunted, and carrying a gift that made her both valuable and cursed. Her milk was not just nourishment. It was power, the kind of power others would kill for. Daniel felt his anger fade into guilt. He had judged her, doubted her, but she was alone, just like him. They were both trapped, both fighting to live. He leaned closer, his voice softer. "You saved me." "Because you didn't want to be alone." Her glowing eyes lifted to his, and she whispered, "Together." The word struck deep in his chest again. It was the second time she had said it, and now he understood its true weight. Daniel reached out. Slowly, his hand trembling, he touched her shoulder. Her skin was warm. He whispered back, "Together." For the first time since waking in this bunker, he felt something beyond fear. It was not just survival anymore. It was connection. But the moment was broken when the steel walls shook again. Dust rained from the ceiling. A heavy sound echoed above. Steps too heavy to be human. The girl's glowing eyes widened with alarm. She pressed her hand against the wall. Her veins blazing with blue light, her face turned pale. Daniel's heart pounded. He whispered quickly, "What is it?" Her lips trembled. Her voice broke as she whispered a single word. "Hunter's asterisk." The steel walls groaned as the sound grew louder. Above the bunker, dust fell from the ceiling in soft streams. Daniel pressed his back against the wall, his heart racing. The alien girl's glowing eyes shone brighter than before. Her veins pulsed blue like warning lights. She whispered one word again. "Hunters." Daniel clenched his fists. Fear crawled through him. He knew what hunters meant. They weren't simple soldiers. They were trackers, killers. Beings who never stopped until their prey was caught. If they had followed her here, then they would not leave until she was dead. The girl pressed her palm against the steel wall, her body stiff. Her glow dimmed and flared as if she was sensing the world above. Daniel could see fear in her eyes now. Fear not for herself, but for him. "They're coming here, aren't they?" Daniel whispered, his voice rough. She turned to him and nodded once, slow and heavy. Her glowing eyes shimmered. She whispered. Soon, Daniel's throat tightened. He still felt weak, though her gift had given him strength. He was no soldier, no warrior, but something inside him, something new. Pulsed stronger every time he thought of her. He could not let her fall. He could not let the hunters take her. The noise grew sharper. Metal clanged above as heavy boots struck the ground. The sound of machinery hummed. A deep rumble shook the bunker they were cutting through. Daniel's chest burned with panic. "We have to run," he hissed. The girl shook her head. Her silver hair swayed. "No. No way," she whispered. Her voice broke on the words. She was right. The bunker had only one exit, and it was the same place the hunters were coming through. Daniel cursed under his breath. T pressed his palms against the wall, his eyes darting. Around the small prison, there was nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. The hunters would break in, and they would kill. The girl stepped closer to him, her glowing eyes locked on his. She placed her hand on his chest again. Her warmth surged through him. His heart raced. He felt the strange energy again, stronger now, pulsing like fire in his veins. He gasped and stumbled, gripping his chest. "What are you doing?" he asked. His voice trembling, her lips parted. Her whisper came soft but firm. Strength. Daniel's body shook, his vision blurred. But then cleared sharper than before. He felt his muscles tighten, his breath deeper. His weakness faded like a shadow in the light. For the first time, he felt power. He looked at his hands. They no longer trembled. His veins pulsed faintly with a blue glow. He turned his wide eyes to her. "What have you done to me?" She stepped closer. Her glowing eyes shone with sorrow. She whispered, "Save." Before Daniel could reply, the bunker doors screeched. Metal screamed as sparks rained. A glowing crack cut through the steel. The hunters were breaking in. Daniel's body tensed. He grabbed a broken steel rod lying on the floor. It was nothing compared to their weapons. But it was something. He glanced at the alien girl. She stood tall, her veins glowing bright. She was ready to fight too, even if it meant death. The bunker door exploded inward. Smoke and sparks filled the air. Through the haze, shadows moved. Dark armored figures stepped inside. Their eyes glowed red. Their weapons hissed with energy. They filled the bunker with their presence. Daniel's heart pounded. Fear clawed at him, but the fire in his veins burned hotter. He stepped in front of the alien girl without thinking, raising the steel rod like a blade. One of the hunters stepped forward. His voice echoed deep and cruel. "Give her to us, human, and we will let you live." Daniel's grip tightened. His breath shook. He felt the alien girl's hand touch his back. Warm and steady, her glow spread into him again. His fear faded, replaced by something new. He looked at the hunters and shouted, "No." The hunters laughed. The sound was sharp and cold. The leader raised his weapon, a glowing spear of light. He lunged forward. Daniel moved faster than he thought possible. His body felt like it belonged to someone else. His arm swung the steel rod with unnatural speed. The clash rang like thunder. Sparks burst as metal struck energy. Daniel staggered. Back but did not fall. His hands burned but did not let go. The hunter hissed, surprised. Impossible. Daniel stood his ground, his chest rising with fire. His veins glowed faintly blue. His voice cracked but steady. "You'll have to go through me." The hunters charged. The bunker shook with chaos. Daniel swung again, his body fueled by the alien girl's gift. He felt pain, fear, and rage, but he did not give in. Each strike was wild but strong. Each breath burned. The alien girl stood behind him, her hands glowing. sending warmth into his body every time he faltered. She was not fighting with her hands, but with her gift. Her strength flowed into him. Daniel roared, his voice echoing through the steel walls. The hunters pressed harder, but for the first time, they met resistance from a human who should have been dead. The battle had only begun, and already the hunters knew this was not just prey. This was something new, something born from human will, an alien gift. Daniel's chest burned, his arms shook. But he did not step back. He fought, not for himself, but for the girl who had given him life. The bunker, once silent, now thundered with war. And in the smoke and sparks, the bond between human and alien became a weapon the hunters never expected. The bunker was no longer silent. It shook with the clash of steel, the hiss of weapons, and the cries of hunters who had never expected resistance from a dying human. Sparks rained across the floor as Daniel swung his steel rod with desperate strength. His arms trembled, yet they struck again and again. His veins glowed faint blue under his skin, every heartbeat filled with the alien girl's gift. The hunters moved like shadows, fast and merciless. Their red eyes glowed in the smoke. Their weapons hummed with deadly energy. One lunged at Daniel, a blade of light aimed for his chest. Daniel twisted, faster than he thought possible. The blade cut across his arm, burning his flesh, but he did not fall. He roared in pain and slammed his rod into the hunter's helmet. Sparks burst. The armored figure stumbled. Another hunter raised a gun. The weapon glowed with energy. Ready? To fire, Daniel's chest froze with fear. But before the shot could land, a burst of blue light flashed beside him. The alien girl stood tall, her veins blazing like fire. Her glowing eyes locked on the hunter. She raised her hand, and the air trembled. The weapon sparked and shut down. The hunter snarling in confusion. Daniel gasped. You can fight too." She turned her glowing eyes to him, her voice soft but firm. Together, the word filled him with fire. He charged forward. Swinging his rod at the disabled hunter, the impact rang out, sending the armored figure crashing to the floor. Daniel's chest heaved, his body burned, but he kept moving. The hunters hissed like predators cornered. They were not used to resistance, especially not from prey. Their leader stepped forward, towering above the rest. His armor thick, his red eyes burning with rage. He raised a massive spear of light and slammed it into the ground. The floor shook, dust rained from the ceiling. The message was clear: this fight would not end until one side was dead. Daniel wiped blood from his face. His body screamed to give up, but the warmth from the alien girl flowed through him again. Her gift was not just keeping him alive, it was fueling him. He could feel it, his muscles stronger, his breath deeper, his fear smaller. He no longer felt like the man who had woken weak and broken. He felt like something more. The leader hunter lunged, his spear cutting through the air. Daniel blocked with the rod. The force threw him back against the wall. His chest cracked with pain, but he stood again. His veins glowed brighter. The alien girl placed her hand on his back, her warmth flooding him. The pain faded enough for him to move. He gritted his teeth and swung. The rod clashed with the glowing spear again. Sparks burst. The sound echoed like thunder. The leader snarled, surprised at the human strength. Daniel shouted, his voice raw, "You won't take her." The alien girl stood close behind him. Her glowing veins flickered as if her own strength poured into him. She whispered again. Together, her voice steadier this time, almost commanding. The hunters circled them, their weapons raised. Daniel tightened his grip on the rod. His body shook, but he no longer felt like prey. He was fighting for more than survival. He was fighting for her. One hunter rushed from the side. Daniel swung wide, the rod smashing against the weapon, breaking it apart. Another lunged from behind. But the alien girl raised her hand, blue light sparking from her veins. The hunter's armor cracked with a burst of energy, sending him sprawling. The leader roared and struck again. His spear cut across Daniel's side. Fire tore through his body. He cried out, but did not fall. His legs wobbled, blood dripping. The alien girl rushed forward, her hands glowing as she touched his wound. Warmth spread, the bleeding slowed. Daniel gasped, strength returning. Her gift was killing her. He could see it now. Her veins flickered dimmer each time she gave him more. Her glowing eyes shimmered with exhaustion. She was pouring herself into him, sacrificing her own life to keep him standing. No, Daniel whispered, you'll die if you keep this up. She met his eyes, her voice soft but unshaken. Together, the word cut deeper than pain. Daniel's chest tightened. He clenched the rod with both hands. His veins blazing blue, he screamed and charged the leader. The rod clashed against the glowing spear. The force shook the walls. The battle raged, steel against energy, human against hunter. The bunker trembled as if the world itself watched. Daniel struck again and again, fueled not by his own strength, but by hers. Every blow carried to hearts. Every roar carried to souls. The hunters began to falter. Shock filled their glowing eyes. They had come for easy prey, but what they found was resistance unlike anything they had faced. Daniel's body bled, his muscles tore, but he did not stop. The alien girl's glow flickered weaker, but her eyes stayed locked on him. She would not let him fall. The leader staggered under Daniel's final strike. The rod slammed into his chest, sparks bursting as the armor cracked. The massive figure stumbled, snarling but still standing. His spear lifted again, glowing brighter. The final blow was coming. Daniel's knees wobbled. His body screamed to fall, but the warmth touched him again, faint but steady. Her voice whispered through the smoke, soft but unbreakable, together. With the last of his strength, Daniel roared and swung. The steel rod crashed against the glowing spear. The explosion of force shook the bunker, throwing both of them to the ground. The hunters reeled back, the smoke filling the air. Daniel lay on the cold floor, his chest heaving, his hands bleeding. He looked beside him. The alien girl collapsed too. Her glow faint, her eyes half closed, but still fixed on him. The hunters hesitated in the smoke, their leaders staggering. The battle was not over, but it was no longer theirs alone. It belonged to something greater, a bond between human and alien that even death could not break. Asterisk smoke filled the bunker. The air was thick, the steel walls scorched, and the floor cracked with sparks. Daniel lay on his back, his chest rising and falling in ragged breaths. Blood streaked his arm, his side burned, and every muscle in his body screamed to give up. Beside him, the alien girl lay weak. Her silver hair spread across the floor like strands of light. Her glow was faint, her veins dimming. Daniel forced himself to roll onto his side. His vision blurred, but he could still see the hunters moving through the smoke. Their leader staggered. His armor cracked, his glowing spear flickering weakly. The other hunters growled low, circling like wolves, unwilling to retreat. Daniel gritted his teeth. His rod was bent, nearly broken. But he tightened his grip. He could not stop. Not now. He pushed himself up, his legs trembling, his chest heaving. He looked down at the alien girl, her glowing eyes half closed. She was fading. No, he whispered, his voice rough. Not after everything. You kept me alive. I won't let them take you. Her glowing eyes opened just enough to meet his. Her lips trembled as she whispered the word one last time. Together, the sound struck him like fire. Daniel's veins glowed faintly blue again. He felt the warmth of her gift still inside him. Even though she was too weak to give more, her strength lived in him now. And he would not let it die. He stood tall, blood dripping from his wounds. The hunters paused for a moment. Their leader snarled. Raising the cracked spear again, Daniel raised his broken rod. His voice steady despite the pain. "If you want her, you'll have to go through me." The hunters lunged. The leader roared. Sparks and smoke burst through the bunker once more. Daniel swung with everything left inside him. His body felt like it would shatter, but the fire in his chest burned stronger. He struck again and again, blocking blows, deflecting strikes, his arms heavy but unbreakable. The alien girl, too weak to rise, lifted her hand faintly from the floor. Her veins flickered, sending the last drops of her power into him. Daniel gasped as the warmth filled him one final time. His strength returned in a flood of fire. His broken body no longer felt like it belonged to a dying man. It felt like something reborn. He roared and charged the leader. The clash shook the bunker. The glowing spear shattered under the force of his strike. The leader staggered back, his armor breaking apart. Daniel swung again, the steel rod smashing into the hunter's chest. The massive figure collapsed, sparks bursting. His red eyes flickered and went dark. The other hunters froze. Their leader had fallen for the first time. Fear shone in their glowing eyes. They hissed, backing away. Daniel stood tall, blood-soaked but unbroken. His glowing veins pulsed like fire. His voice rang through the smoke. "Leave, or you'll all fall the same." The hunters hesitated. Then, like shadows retreating, they slipped back through the smoke. Their heavy steps faded into silence. The battle was over. Daniel fell to his knees. His rod clattered to the ground, his chest heaving, his body heavy. He turned to the alien girl, crawling to her side. Her glowing eyes flickered faintly. Her lips parted in a weak whisper. "Safe." Daniel shook his head, his hands trembling as he touched her face. "You saved me," he whispered, "but don't you dare leave me now." Her glowing eyes softened. Her hand weakly touched his chest. "Right over his heart," she whispered. "Life." Together, tears burned Daniel's eyes. He pulled her close, holding her against him. Her glow flickered but did not fade. She was still alive, fragile but alive. Hours passed before the bunker grew quiet again. The smoke cleared slowly. The steel walls no longer shook. The hunters did not return. For the first time since he had woken in this prison, there was peace. Daniel sat with her in his arms, his strength nearly gone, his mind replaying every moment. He had entered this bunker as a broken man. He had survived only because of her. Yet now, he realized he had fought not just to live, but to protect her, to protect the last of her kind. When she opened her glowing eyes again, he smiled weakly. "We can't stay here. Not anymore." She nodded faintly, her voice fragile but clear. "Escape." Together they rose, weak but determined. Daniel carried her weight on his shoulder. Step by step, the bunker was broken, the door torn open from the hunter's attack. Light streamed faintly through the cracks above. Daniel squinted, his chest tightening. He had not seen the sky since before the war, since before the world turned into ash. Now, a pale light spilled into the darkness, a promise of something more. The alien girl leaned against him, her glowing eyes staring at the light with wonder. For her, it was not just escape. It was hope. Daniel tightened his arm around her. "We'll survive," he whispered. "Not alone. Never alone." Her lips curved faintly, the closest thing to a smile. She whispered one final word, the word that bound them from the start. Together, and with that word, they stepped forward, leaving the ruins of the bunker behind. Two souls, one human and one alien. Scarred, broken, but unbroken together. The world outside waited, dangerous and unknown, but they no longer feared it. Because in the darkness of a bunker, they had found Something stronger than survival, they had found each other.